Have you ever seen a movie or TV show where a person takes a photo of their rival and they pin it to a dartboard, then proceed to work out their frustration by throwing darts at the picture? Perhaps when you saw this, or as I describe this to you now, you can think of a person who really gets under your skin where you could see yourself doing this with their picture. But here's the question. If you could bring yourself to throw darts at their picture, could you bring yourself to throw them at the real person? Could you take a dart like this one, line it up, and throw it at another human being, knowing the harm that could be done? I hope you would agree that although some may consider throwing darts at a picture an effective way of relieving some stress, throwing darts at a real person would be crossing a line we should not do. But the question is, why would we consider one acceptable while the other is not? Hello, my friends. Jeffrey Shao here from Grow to Your Potential. As we continue to look at the role of communication in helping us navigate conflict, today I will be sharing with you something I find much easier to say than to live out. That is, getting off of email and getting face to face with our conflict. This is something I have struggled with for as long as I have been using email, and is still a struggle for me today, although I am getting much better at it. And it took recognizing the need for change and making a commitment to do so for that change to take place. Interestingly enough, even though I planned this topic over a month ago now, this past week I was once again faced with the very real struggle of trying to get a heated debate off of email and into real-time discussion. I'm happy to say that with one of the individuals involved, there was success. And once we got the conversation shifted to real time, the results were amazing. Unfortunately, for the other individual involved, there's been an ongoing refusal to shift off of email, and it's been really hard to navigate, and the situation remains unresolved. This recent experience has reminded me of both the amazing results that can be achieved when we get the conversation off of email and go face to face, as well as the real challenge in doing so, particularly when fears and concerns of what may happen are present. But despite our fears and worries, the best way to get to a healthy place on the other side of conflict is by strapping yourself in and going straight through it. And the best way to do that is by going face to face. Note, I didn't say it is the easiest way, but in my experiences, it is the most effective. And this was a hard lesson for me to learn, and even harder one to put into practice. I have dealt with so much fear coupled with challenges of being misunderstood that I've always found it so much easier to speak my mind to another person through the written word, either a handwritten letter or an email. Allow me to describe a scenario you may find all too familiar. You're frustrated with something, all worked up, and you start typing up that email. The words flow so quickly and easily onto the screen. As you type away, you start to feel better. You're getting things off your chest and out into the open. Your voice is being heard, and the other person will know exactly how you feel. But then you hit the send button, and shortly after, you see that dreaded reply, and that cycle starts all over again. Likely more heated this time around than the first. Perhaps, after writing the next email, before hitting that send button, you stop. You read what you have written, and you make some changes before sending it off. Surely, this time, you will be understood, and all will be well. And yet, here comes another reply, and the cycle continues. I will admit, for me, this cycle is all too easy to get into and very hard to break once it has begun. It reminds me of an episode of the sitcom MASH, where Trapper accuses Hawkeye of always having to have the last word. And as they continued their debate, somehow Hawkeye always managed to find something to say in order to have the last word. Unfortunately, this is often how those emails go. That is the nature of debate, and that is what emails tend to promote. Even when we do move that conversation to being face to face, this can still happen. But something changes. Much like how it's easier to throw a dart at someone's picture than it is to throw it at a real person, when we get face to face, it becomes easier to listen and understand. When we are trapped in the back and forth of email, the only emotions we tend to feel are our own. We don't see how our words are affecting the other person, and we're robbed of the opportunity to backtrack, try a different approach, test our assumptions, and go beyond what is being said. As we move into that face-to-face discussion, our tone and our body language come into play, and they account for 90% of our words and how they're interpreted. Whereas in an email, we interpret the words of others strictly based on our own frame of reference and the emotions and tone with which we read the words on the screen. As we go face to face, it's easier to take the other person's feelings into consideration and see how what we are saying is impacting them. This opens us up to listening and hearing them out while allowing the other person to listen to us as well. It is when we get off of email and brave going face to face that we're able to communicate at our best and navigate through tough conflict. It's not always easy or comfortable, but I can promise you this, it is worth it. You will be better for it, even if a happy resolution for everyone cannot be reached. My friends, I have experienced a lot of conflict in my life, much of went unresolved for a long time. And as I've learned to deal with conflict and improve my ability to communicate, I have seen the fruit of my efforts. Regardless of where you are at, I want to assure you there is hope, and I'm here to help. Working with leaders, teams, and organizations in improving how they communicate is just one of the ways I help others move from unhealthy to healthy conflict so they can grow to their potential and experience the joy of a better life. So if you're struggling or just looking for some added guidance to improve your ability to communicate and navigate conflict, head on over to my website to learn more about how I can assist you, and contact me today for a complimentary consultation. Allow me to partner with you to help you grow to your potential.